Okay, hey guys! Welcome back. I literally tried to start filming and what is this? What is this? Why is it doing this? Okay, major distraction. I tried to tuck it behind my ear, but like, cannot be tamed. What is that? Okay, I'm gonna go pin this back and I'll be right back. 1 second. Hello, okay, petals, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone is doing amazing today. I am going to talk to you about how, and ignore my mum fit, even though I'm not a mum, but like I feel like this is what like mums wear, or like they zip it right up like this and like do the Esplanade walk in Cronulla. Anyway, so I'm going to talk to you about how I got to where I am. There's like a tiniest piece of fluff. What is that? Anyways, talk to you about how I got to where I am right now today in my whole like weight loss journey, what I did to get here, how did I do my intolerances. So it's basically going to be a sit down and talk through everything. I've got a lot of books and a lot of like data that's next to me from myself that I got from when I went and had all these tests done. So I'm just gonna like backtrack and tell you how and what I was like, and I'll put up a few pictures here and there in my editing. First of all, when did I start? How did any of this happen? Back in 2014, this is kind of where everything started to go wrong. So it's 2020 now, and in 2014, I started putting on a lot of weight. I wasn't able to control what was happening to my body. I was like on different diets. I think I was like 75 kilos. I've got some photos that I will show you. And at one point I was like 80 kilos. So I was very, very overweight for my body. At the moment I'm around 56 kilos, but back then I was like, yeah, 20 to 25 kilos heavier. What happened to my body? I was like just bloated all the time. I was really, really overweight. Every time I ate, I felt really sick. I'd like get really bad digestive issues. I would have a sore stomach. I'd have like almost period pains and stabbing pains in my pelvic region from literally eating foods that I couldn't actually digest due to my issues. So from a personal perspective, I was overweight. Like looking at me, from what I could feel in myself, I was always sluggish, I was tired, I would fall asleep if I had way too much carbs. So if I had a whole plate of pasta, like I actually couldn't even fight staying awake. I know it sounds so weird, but after I've seen so many specialists, it is a thing. You can become drowsy from having so much carbs. It's almost like that food coma that they say that you have, like that food coma thing, but I would literally would not be able to stay awake from having a whole thing of carbs. Like punching pains from the inside, which was like gassy or farting or flatulence, whatever you want to call it. Fluffs, as I call it. Yes, I say fluffs. Most occasions, if I had dairy, I would actually throw up. This is the worst ever. I was driving and I had to stop on the way and quickly pull over. I opened the car door and spewed out the side of the door. And now I know why. I actually spewed all over my legs, spewed on my boots. As I started to become more aware, I knew that certain foods that I had would make me want to vomit. I would get reflux from dairy, or I would get like literally the most grumbly stomach. 2014, I went to a guy called Dr. Weltman. He was at Bondi. I had a colonoscopy and gastroscopy, whereas you don't eat for a couple of days like certain foods, and you take this Pico Prep, which makes you literally get diarrhea and cleans your whole inside out. They put a scope, like a camera, and testing, I don't know how they test it, but they go through your mouth and actually through your bum. Oh. I love that I'm saying this on camera. Ah! Okay, they go through there and they actually take biopsies of your small intestine and your bowel and take those things and test them in labs. I had that when I was 16. Nothing showed up, absolutely nothing. I was perfectly fine. I don't know what was wrong with my stomach then. I had an irregular period. I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, which now I don't even really believe I have. Or maybe I still have it. I don't really know too much in depth about it, but like I had high testosterone and insulin resistance, which are two of the components of polycystic ovarian syndrome. You should be insulin resistant, you should have high testosterone, and you should also have multiple follicles on your ovaries. I had the multiple follicles on my ovaries, high insulin, but not high testosterone. So I only had two of the components of the three. So the more research I've done, I probably don't really have it. Or as I don't really know. It's like, it's not something I know too much about because that's not really my issue. And then I went to see Dr. Weltman, and with Dr. Weltman, I had the colonoscopy and gastroscopy, which showed in 2014 that I was completely lactose intolerant. I remember walking in and he goes, "Oh, I just told the patient before you that she was the worst I've ever seen. You are the worst I've ever seen." I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And he goes, "Well, your lactose intolerance score is 0. So the enzyme that the body makes is called lactase. The body makes this enzyme which breaks down dairy. Well, no, it actually doesn't break down dairy, it breaks down lactose. And my body doesn't make that enzyme. So when I used to eat lactose or milk, which has lactose in it, I would want to spew, or I would get a really grumbly tummy. The reason you get a grumbly tummy is because your body doesn't make that enzyme. When your body doesn't make that enzyme, it cannot break it down. So it technically ferments, which means rots inside your stomach, which you'll get like really stinky farts, that eggy smell, or you might even throw up if you're really bad like I was. It just like wanted to just get out of my body. And sometimes the reaction won't happen straight away. It might be a buildup of you eating dairy over 3 days, and you get to the 3rd day, you've had dairy every day, and your body's like, get out. Like, it doesn't happen straight away. So I had that biopsy, and I also had small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is like too much bad bacteria in your small intestine, and they put me on a set of antibiotics for that to try and kill it. I don't even know if I have it back, but like I'd have to get another biopsy, which I cannot afford because it's like $1,000. So that's what came from that test. I was lactose intolerant completely, and I had small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. That was in 2014. So then I went on to lactose-free milk, lactose-free cheese, which did nothing. Why did it do nothing? Because I actually might have the test things that he gave me. I might just try to quickly find those. This is the other folder. This is how many tests I had. Look at that, 66.1 kilos, the 4th of the 2nd, 2014. Wow. And there's all my measurements. I actually wrote that down near the start. So I would have gained even more weight after that. So what happened was when I saw that Dr. Weltman guy, here's my lactose intolerance score. 0. It literally has 0 on it. I do not make any. When people say to me, it's not a real thing, lactose intolerance is not a real thing. Here is my pathology report from a $1,000 scope that I actually had, which says lactase 0.0. Have you ever heard of those? They're called lactase, and they can help you with your lactose intolerance. So basically I was taking lactase, having lactose-free milk. Lactase is when I wanted to eat dairy. It wasn't doing anything because I was also intolerant to another form of dairy, which I'll touch on in a minute. Then I went and had this test done as well, a streaming diagnosis, the breath test people. And this study supports of proximal bacterial overgrowth. The fructose test may have been negated due to too much room air being sampled, leading potentially false negative. This was like a breath test. You had to breathe into this bag. It checked for the bacterial overgrowth, again, which I did have, supports evidence of proximal bacterial overgrowth. So yeah, I had that. And the fructose, which is like sugars, I also had that. So by this point, Dr. Weltman had diagnosed me with lactose intolerance with my 0 reading, fructose intolerance, and small bacterial overgrowth. In the midst of all of this, I also had like period issues, which I saw a lady for like my polycystic ovarian syndrome, which now I don't even believe that I have. Even though I have the follicles and I have insulin resistance, I don't have high testosterone. So therefore, I don't have all 3 elements of POX. I have 2 of the elements of POX, which means I still have to be careful, but I don't have the 3rd element. So I had all the period issues, which is under control now, and I had the insulin resistance, which is under control now. But because I was so overweight, it makes you insulin resistant. Now, this is where I got put onto low FODMAP diet. Do not believe in this. No, do not care what anyone says. I don't believe in these stupid things that are like, oh, just eliminate and introduce. No, mate, it's not gonna happen, and you'll see why in a minute. It does not happen. You can eliminate and then introduce. You might be intolerant to a million things. How do you eliminate and then reintroduce? What, do you just not eat and then reintroduce one thing and not eat again? Like, it makes no sense. I do not believe in that. I know some people can figure it out because maybe they're like intolerant to one thing, but for me, you'll see in a minute. I've already got 3 things wrong with me. I'm about to give you a whole load more. I saw another person and they tried to make me do an elimination diet. And by this point, I had been trying from 2014, it was 2016 by this point, and I was friggin' over it. I was so over it. I did not want to see another doctor. I didn't want to do another elimination diet. Like, I was still sick, I was still fat, I still couldn't work out why I was feeling nauseous, why I would vomit in my own mouth, why I'd need to spew, why I'd have diarrhea, why I'd be constipated, why my stomach hurt, why I felt I was being stuffed from the inside. I even did Weight Watchers. Look at this. 70 kilos, look at that. 2014, I told you when I went up in weight. 70 kilos. This was Weight Watchers, I think, or Light and Easy. What is this book? Oh, Jenny Craig, sorry. Goal weight, 57. Girl, you surpassed it. 56. That's that. The good stuff is in this, in my bank fold. After all that, so what happened is 2014, I was treated things. I got tested for lactose intolerance. I was fructose intolerant, and I had small bacterial overgrowth, which was all diagnosed from a gastrologist through a colonoscopy and gastroscopy. After that, I met Natalia. I love her so much. So I remember going to her, I took all these blood tests that I had. There was thousands of blood tests in there, hence why the folder is that thick. I think I had blood tests every month for almost a whole year. Natalia said to me, elimination diet doesn't work. And I believe that 100%, because I struggled for so long with my stupid ass weight and all this sickness and all this illness, and she did this test on me. This is called the food detectives test. Are you reacting to the foods you eat? Intolerance is not usually life-threatening. No, it's not life-threatening at all, but can make you feel extremely unwell. And food intolerance can be delayed for many hours or even days, as I said at the start of the video. For this reason, it's often difficult to identify the problem foods, and that was my problem. The dairy, if I had a lot, I would notice it within hours. If I didn't have a lot and had a little bit, then 3 days later, I would be so sick. But I'm like, what did I eat today? I didn't even eat anything bad. Why am I so sick? I have it often, but my body literally just like cannot hack it anymore because I haven't really exposed myself to it that much. But I do sometimes eat my intolerance foods. I'm not gonna say, oh my God, I never eat it, because I do. Because I'm human and I like chocolate and I like bread and I like things that other people have, even though I'm not allowed to eat it. In many cases, these symptoms are dismissed as all in the mind. I remember when my mum will vouch for this, but I had this test done and she goes, you're just full of it, Jessica, you're just a hypochondriac. I remember sitting there and she goes, oh my God. Because the amount of things I was intolerant to, she was like, oh gosh. She just thought I was lying. She thought I was making it up. Not making it up, I genuinely was sick. Testing for food intolerance, get a health professional. So obviously I recommend Natalia. She obviously helped me, and I'll go through all the stuff that she gave me as well, which was something that really helped me get through not being able to have stuff, which is like a stigma. Oh, you can't eat anything. Well, you can. You just have to be with the right dietitian or nutritionist to be able to, or naturopath to be able to do that. It tests the antibodies for 59 commonly eaten foods, and it's performed by a blood sample. So she literally like pricked my finger, squeezed blood, and then there was this little tray, and on the tray has all these little dots. The little dots, and I'll show you my test results in a minute, had changed color. So they changed color, And then when they change color, it means you are intolerant to that food. If it stays white or goes lighter blue is like a light reaction, medium blue is a medium reaction, and dark blue is a very severe reaction or intolerance. And you'll just be able to know exactly what you're intolerant to. You don't have to wait, you don't have to eliminate, you don't have to go through any vomiting, diarrhea, or any like just waiting. I wanted an answer. I'd been doing this for 2 years. Just give me an answer. That's all I wanted. I'm like, what is wrong with me? So these are all the foods tested. Cereals, corn, drum wheat, gluten, oats, rice, rye, and wheat, nuts and beans, almond, Brazil nut, cashew, cocoa bean, olive, peanut, legume, pea, lentil, haricot, soybean, walnut, meats, beef, chicken, lamb, pork, fish, freshwater fish, salmon and trout, shellfish, shrimp, prawn, crab, lobster, mussel, tuna, whitefish mix, haddock, cod, and I don't know how to say this word, place or play? See? I don't know. Vegetables, broccoli, carrot, cabbage, celery, cucumber, leek, peppers, as in like capsicums, red, green, yellow, and white potato. Fruits, apple, blackcurrant, grapefruit, melon, cantaloupe, watermelon, orange and lemon, strawberry and tomato. Other, eggs, whole, cow's milk, garlic, ginger, mushroom, tea, and yeast. My gosh, sorry, this is such a long video, but it's a lot to explain. All right, here we go, the moment of truth. See the colors on the back? So that is like the light blue, dark blue, and the blue. That is how you detect what you are. 2015. So I'd been searching for answers obviously from 2013. 2014, I went and got tested with the gastrologist. And then 2015 is where I found out what's wrong with me. Now, how many things did I show up for? Keep in mind, I'm lactose intolerant, which is one part of dairy, fructose, and I had small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. You're not going to be able, sorry, the camera just turned up. You're not going to be able to eliminate 25 things out of my diet, out of your diet. Now, keep in mind, strong reactions, which are the dark blue, when I flip this around, the dark blue means that you are not allowed to have it at all. Even though I do have it sometimes, because let's be real, I'm a human. The lighter reactions to medium, the medium to medium reactions you probably still shouldn't have at all, but I do sometimes have them. And the light reactions are every 3 to 4 days, but not all of them every 3 to 4 days, either one of them every 3 to 4 days. Because if you had it, that one of the 3 to 4 days on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's not every 3 to 4 days. You've had something from each different food group on each day, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. That was really hard to explain. All right, I'm just going to show you this and then I'll read it out.
Does it focus?
I'll read out all my lows and then my medium to high. So low is every 3 to 4 days. You can sometimes have it. Oats, Brazil nut, cashew, tea, walnut, whitefish mix. Whitefish mix was haddock, cod, and place, whatever that is. Tuna, grapefruit, peanuts, orange and lemon, tomato. Then my medium to strong, which is foods you definitely shouldn't have, was wheat, rice, rye, drum wheat. I don't even really know that one. I'm not very aware of that. Gluten, cow's milk, whole egg. God, that was one that tricked me the whole time. Whole egg. I'd have eggs for breakfast and I still felt sick, and I was like, didn't even have bread. I had eggs and spinach. Like, it never clicked to me. Like, don't have the egg. Duh. Cabbage, so random. How was I gonna figure out cabbage? Like, when you have Asian food, cabbage is in it all the time. Potato, white potato, not sweet potato. Capsicum, which is peppers, so your red, yellow, green. Legume mix, which was like, peas, lentils, and haricot. Ginger, everyone has ginger. They like great good ginger and lemon in your tea. No. And yeast. Ugh. Hot cross buns. Like, come on. Why? I'm puffed from this combo. Literally puffed. Now, it comes with this little bubba thing in it. And this is like wheat alternatives, yeast alternatives. I need a freaking break. I cannot talk for this long. So on top of all that, I had all my blood tests with Natalia, and one thing that doctors don't do, and why I don't trust doctors, because still trust doctors in a way, but I don't trust them with intolerance because they just don't have a really wide understanding on it. And as that little food testing, it's like in the mind or it's all in your head. It's not. Because if you're vomiting from eating food and you've got a bloated tummy and you're getting diarrhea and things like that, that's like a very clear sign that something's fucking wrong. Something's wrong, without swearing. With the blood test that I brought to Natalia, not only did I bring these blood tests to her, I also had the food intolerance test. With my blood tests, the insulin resistance, they had me on metformin, which was helping me lose weight, which is for people who have diabetes, because I was a pre-diabetic because I was so overweight. With being a pre-diabetic, you go onto metformin before becoming proper like injection insulin or whatever. So I was on this metformin, it was making me lose weight here and there, but it would make me so sick. The thing with Natalia and these blood tests was she would look at borderline. So say I was lacking in iron, or I was lacking in zinc, or lacking in something, she wouldn't wait for me to be deficient. She'd be like, all right, Jess, you're borderline. Let's give you some supplements to push that up so you don't fall to borderline. So I was borderline B12 deficient. Within a month of that test, I was completely B12 deficient, as in I started to get chronic fatigue, and I had that before. They jabbed me with like 2 shots of vitamin B12 every month, and I kept getting jabbed with this stuff, and I literally was having injections all over the place. I had vitamin D injections, I had B12 injections, I had an iron ferro inject. Like, it just kept jabbing me at the doctors, just trying to quick fix. And I still was sick. I still was fat. I still felt like crap. She looked at all the borderline stuff, and that's something where I figured out that I'm the same as my hereditary side or my nunna, where I have a underactive thyroid and overactive. So not only do I just not have one symptom, I have 2, which I have all these supplements for my thyroid and for my T3 and T4 hormone, whereas the T3 and T4 hormones in your thyroid literally are what are responsible for like your period, for your weight, for sending signals to your pancreas and all those sorts of things. So soy is really bad for your thyroid and for that signal to the pancreas. So with that, I cut the soy out as well, hence why I was talking about soy before. Sorry, this is an information overload. I hope you actually get something from it. Yeah, so she tests stuff that is like borderline and not borderline, and that's where I got all my thyroid stuff, because my thyroid was dysfunctioning so much that it was going up and down, up and down, up and down. TSH, T4, T3, the TSH hormone. So the level means gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight. Do you think the doctor did absolutely anything for my thyroid? No, nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I was gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, and I still do that. But that's why I'm on supplements at the moment to help my thyroid. So thyroid dysfunction, usually if you're overactive, you can be medicated, or if you're underactive, you can be medicated, but not when you're irregular. So I'm irregular, therefore I keep a close eye on my weight and a close eye on my diet all the time. And my medication that I have is organic or natural. Not that I don't believe in real medication, but I prefer natural. She then like gave me all these, God, it's so old because I've like tabbed it like an old school girl. Not that I would now, but it's like fructose, grain, coconut milk and yogurt, recipes, spread, oil, salt, supplements for eggs. So she literally sent me photos, which I still have, and I printed them off because she emailed them all to me. But I like, instead of eggs, I'll use the no egg, but I feel like this is a whole different video, like how I go around the diet. I just kind of wanted to tell you how I got to where I am, but I might go through like all of the like dietary stuff and like how to actually do it, because I've got heaps of recipe books and heaps of things like that, how I actually go through and eat, and how do I like manage 26 different intolerances. It's actually 27 with the fructose, but I don't really count the fructose. How do I manage that? So basically, I'm tired of talking. I am lactose intolerant, fructose intolerant, I had small bacterial overgrowth, I have a dysfunctioning thyroid, and I have 25 intolerances that came out of that food detectives test. All of those in conjunction with some other bloods and Natalia helped me to really just get to where I am. Not easy. That's basically how I lost all my weight, is purely through diet. And now obviously I train at Reborn Fitness when the gyms reopen, but I also train in conjunction with that, which obviously improved my body. But really ultimately it's your diet, and fitness obviously gives you a better body, like more muscle, better physique, things like that. But really at the start I didn't go to the gym. What I was more focused on was my nutrition and my diet, which was really difficult because I had so many issues. Now it's like a breeze. It's like I know exactly what I can eat, what I can't eat. Some of the intolerance foods I can handle, or I'm happy to have every third day or whatever. And it's not hard to keep track of. Everyone's like, oh, it's overwhelming, it's too much. It's not. You have to be consistent. You have to keep at it. And yeah, you know, just like this is like a, 2014 till now, that's a 6-year journey for me. Hence why I'm a boss at it. You won't be a boss at it in your first year. You won't be a boss at it in your second year. You might be starting to get a handle on it in your third year. It's not something that's like, oh, I'm just gonna be so good at this straight away. You'll cry. I was crying because I wanted to eat a hamburger. Like I was so sad because I wanted a hamburger, but I wouldn't let myself eat it. I used to sit on the table and eat broccoli and cry. How am I gonna wrap this? Basically, that's how I got to where I am. That's what's wrong with me. That's how I base my diet. I think the next video I'll tell you how I actually attacked it, but like this is basic.
Should have done a tally how many times I said basically. Sorry.
Basically, my health issues and how I diagnosed all of those issues and how I came to get to where I am today. So obviously this was the start of a very long journey of health and becoming healthy and becoming a better cook, even though I still suck sometimes. And yeah, so I hope you learned something from this. If you have any questions, let me know. I know it's super overwhelming. There's a lot of info, but there's no easy way to tell a 6-year journey. I probably could have done it in categories, but literally, like, I don't like scripting things before. I just like it to flow and be natural. So if you have any questions, let me know. I will do a recipes and go through my little folder of like what Natalia gave me to figure out my intolerance, not to figure out my intolerance, to figure out what I could actually eat and what I based my diet off, so I didn't go crazy not knowing what I could eat. So basically we'll just go through that the next video. But yeah, I hope you learned something, and sorry for overwhelming you and sorry for making it such a long video, but there's no easy way to tell a 6-year story, and I hope you have a great day. Mwah. Bye. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time.